Hello, I'm Kevin Church, and this month, December 2020, our MUFIC Songwriter of the Month is Tom Kinney. Hey, Tom, how are you?
Kevin, great to see you again.
Great to see you, too. It's always a pleasure playing with you on these videos that we do, and we're just glad to actually bring you on to talk about your journey. So I'm just going to ask you a few questions so people can see the man behind the harp. You know what I mean? So tell us, where'd you get started? What was your earliest influences?
I think my parents both loved music. My father played piano and harmonica. Not very well, either one, but he did. And both of them loved to sing. And of course, like everybody else in the world, I started singing in church when I was young. And I got to be Joseph in the Christmas pageant.
That's
And
cool.
I kind of never stopped. I didn't start playing an instrument until I was almost in college, but I wrote a lot. You know, like a lot of people, you start out writing poetry that maybe later in your life becomes song.
Right.
But kind of a standard beginning for a lot of us musicians, church and family.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, you got an interesting story that you told us off camera. Would you like to tell us about your dad and him playing?
My father was a World War II veteran. And he was, before they had a name for it, he actually had PTSD and had some problems. And he was active in the church, and he would come home and have a few drinks, sit down at the piano and begin to play. Something like the Old Rugged Cross. And he'd get about halfway through it to make a mistake. And he'd go, and go back to playing a hymn again.
That's so great.
That
Well,
was
you
him.
know,
That was my dad.
he was perfectionist. So, okay, I think we're okay to say that on our MUFIC channel.
Probably so. We're all adults here.
We'll find out if we get blurbed out or not.
Yeah.
But, what I was going to tell you is we want to know, too, like, okay, about family and about your poetry. Now, what about music? When did you start playing guitar or harmonica or anything like that?
I think when I was in high school, and of course I graduated from high school many years ago, I discovered, along with a lot of people my age, I discovered Bob Dylan. And I said to myself, if that guy can do it, maybe I can do it too. He really doesn't sing all that well. And I started listening to him. I picked up the harmonica, and Bob's a basic harmonica player. And I used to just drive around in my car with a harmonica and play and try to learn little licks. And when people ask me how do you play harp, I say, put it in your mouth and play it till you know where everything is. And that's kind of what I did. And then, of course, naturally progressing, you discover blues players. As a white guy growing up in South Florida, I didn't really get to listen to very much blues music. So many people of my generation came to know the blues through British groups, white
Right.
guys like the Stones,
Right.
John Mayall, playing American blues. And then you look at the back of the album, you go, who is this R. Johnson guy?
Oh, yeah.
And you start on a journey of discovery about the blues and about your instrument. And I've been a harmonica player for over 50 years, and it's just something that, for some reason, comes natural to me. I have to work very hard at everything else, but that instrument is my instrument, and I'm thankful that I have one. But I started there as a harp player, and I think I didn't get in my first rock and roll band until I was in my first year of college. I didn't play guitar, and I didn't play during high school like so many of my buddies did. And I started singing and playing. I knew I could sing, but I started playing harp and got in a few little bands. And I learned early in the band business that it needs to either be your band or you need to have a major influence in it, or you're going to be singing and playing stuff that you don't really want to play. So I learned that pretty early too.
I got you.
And I've kind of been in little bands all my life, on and off. And wasn't until many years later that I actually, I always had a guitar around, but it wasn't until many years later I was brave enough to actually go out and play, do some of the open mics and stuff like that, and try to play my own music and present a thing where I'm playing guitar and playing harp and singing. And I always bill myself as a singer, songwriter, harmonica player, and guitar owner.
I hear you. That's awesome. So you've played in bands, you've done all this other stuff, and you've written songs along the way, and you've also you're still on the open mic scene, playing there, and you just had a show last weekend, or you had a show not too long ago at Stone's Throw.
Last Saturday, yeah, I played at Stone's Throw,
and you had a great time, and back at it.
It's been a couple of years since I did a whole show by myself, and my friends came out and supported me, and it was really nice.
That's awesome.
But, I was in a lot of bands over the years. None of them would let me play guitar. Now, don't get me wrong, but I always managed to be a singer and harmonica player.
That's great. And then back to the open mic thing too. Like, you've met a lot of people too.
So many people, and of course, starting with Chris Tysram about maybe 10 or 12 years ago. He was always kind and patient with me, like he is with everybody.
Right.
And then I guess it's been 6 or 7 years ago when I met David Benrexy, and we had this idea of playing together a little bit. And David had written a book. He wanted some musicians on, and the Musical Fiction Alliance of America was born. And David's. He's the wheel horse.
Right. Before I even came on board, you guys are out here doing this thing. It's really cool.
It's been quite an opportunity to be able to use MUFIC as a vehicle to present your music. And David's always so open to everybody and wanting to hear different styles, different kinds. And it's been a really positive thing in my life.
That's great. So, on your songwriting journey, just to get back to you now, thanks for talking about our staff here, our backer and our cameraman and editor. Just go on about that. Like, as far as your songwriting goes, do you now that you're playing? Now you're a guitar owner. Do you come up with music and riffs before you write the lyrics, or do you write the lyrics and then try and match it up a little bit?
I would say 90% of the time I write the music. I write the lyrics first and then add the music. But occasionally you're doodling around and you come up with this little lick or this little chord change, and you go, I could write a song to go with that. But I would say most of the time the lyrics come first.
Right.
Yeah.
That's cool. And I was going to ask you this too, because you are a harp player. Who are your go-to people that you really love, like that have shown you
Paul
riffs?
Butterfield.
Yeah.
The master.
He's amazing.
He is. And he was influenced by, it's sort of like I was talking about a while ago, you get into it and you go backwards through time and seeing, people like Little Walter, who I call the father of the electric blues harmonica. He may not be. There was a lot of people doing it back then, but wow, there are people every day in this world who learn from Little Walter.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I'm sure Mr. Butterfield did as well.
I'm thinking so, too. I mean, I agree with you. I think that Little Walter, if anything, he's the one that's the most known about it. And then Paul Butterfield.
Well, Butterfield actually got to play with Muddy Waters and his band after Little Walter was gone. And there was just that cohesion between the two styles that worked so well with Muddy, who's one of my great influences as far as just performing. Willie Dixon wrote most of Muddy Waters stuff,
right?
But I just love that guy.
Most of Zeppelin stuff too. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm joking. But yeah, I love that stuff. I mean, Paul Butterfield's amazing. His band is. I mean, Mike Bloomfield was in that band.
Better believe it. He was always one of my favorite guitar players.
Mine too. maybe most underrated in my opinion, but then again, he was talked about a lot.
Yes.
Back then.
He was a musician, like Jocko,
Right. Yeah. So I am so pleased to have you on today, and we want to know about your song that you're going to do for us. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, once again, here's a song that kind of goes back. The name of the song is My Saving Grace. And that, in a nutshell, is what music has meant to me all my life. It was and is my saving grace. And the song almost reads like a love song to a woman, but actually it's a love song to music. And
well, that's fantastic. I feel the same way. Don't tell my girlfriend or anything. But yeah, I feel the same way. Music is a saving grace for us all, or we wouldn't all be here doing what we do.
We wouldn't be the people that we are now. We wouldn't have had this journey where we met so many fantastic people and people out of the mainstream of our lives. Even if we grew up with other jobs and day jobs and stuff, we still had this life of music.
I can't imagine life without it.
No.
We would be bored to death.
It would be bored and sad, yes.
So let's play a sad song. I'm just kidding. It's a celebration song.
It is.
So I'm looking forward to doing that. And with Karen Egan today, too. So it'll be fun.
Our first chair.
That's right. Well, glad to have you on today.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you so much.
Tom Kinney, everybody.
On a lonely road, on a sleepless night, in the pouring rain, by pale headlight, I remember you in that quiet place, my old companion, my saving grace, my soul's expression, sweet melody. All of my passions rolling out of me. You're always there in a quiet space, there in my harmony, my saving grace. Times of pleasure in the dark of pain, blazing light in the storms and rain. You're always there, like a warm embrace, there in my song, my saving grace. I've been abandoned, been placed aside, my heart exposed, blown up inside. I remember you like a lover's face, there in my harmony, my saving grace. Times of pleasure in the dark of pain, blazing light in the storms and rain. I remember you like a warm embrace, there in my harmony, my saving grace. On a lonely road, on a sleepless night, in the pouring rain, by pale headlight, I thought of you, that quiet place, my old companion, my saving grace.
MUFIC sets you free.